Yeah.
get access to
Get
that.
access.
Okay, with the hour being after 7 and out of our executive session, meeting of January 16th with a full board. First item, business minutes, November 7th.
Do these get sent to us? I don't know.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, that was way back. There was a motion from Kate,
Second.
second Paul. Any comments?
Is because I would really encourage people who are listening to consider running if you feel that that's something that calls to you. It's a very important job in the town. It does take a fair amount of work, but it's worth it. And you can have a big impact on the town, not only on individual projects, but on our zoning bylaws. So again, I just wanted to announce that to give people a chance to think about that. And also, if anyone, developers who are looking out for, how the board might change, not in personnel, but just knowing that we require 4 or 3 board members on certain votes, that you want to know that, that how the board might or might not change. So, thank you.
Okay, all right, Phil. You getting overtime? Yeah, you getting overtime? If you are, I'll take you last.
Whatever you want to do.
You owe me overtime, all right. Well, the first business, we have zoning bylaw amendment discussion. We'll take that before we get to the rest of it. Go ahead, Patrick.
All right, members of the board, appreciate taking the time to talk. I know Phil and John have been representatives from the planning board on the zoning bylaw review steering committee. Myself and Jim Crowley, ex officios. Ed Forsberg, one of the at-large members, and Sarah Katib and Tyler Church are the 2 other at-large members. So I know I sent, it was a few different, good amount of pages, but I sent 2 memos to you all just in terms of a breakdown of what the group was proposing within this phase. And I know Phil and John might have mentioned this before. The process is fairly extensive, working with town council, and so the steering committee thought it would be best to really, rather than just have, hey, here's one massive change with a zoning bylaw, to break it up over numerous town meeting cycles. So what's proposed is really, I would call, I guess, more cleanup changes or recommendations from town council within sections 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. There's a proposed change for section 11 that has really entirely to do with new FEMA floodplain maps. So I think the last time the town updated that was in 2012. That article is really language straight from DCR. That's where I've worked with them, just kind of taking what they told me to add the new dates for the map, add the language that they want. So that's language from the state, and so that bylaw itself is really to make sure we're eligible for the national flood insurance program. So that's why that bylaw is important to update. The other one, I know we talked about this last year, is ADUs. And of course, why are we talking about ADUs again? Well, around the same time that we discussed this in the fall, Governor Healy had proposed I think it's called the Affordable Homes Act. It went through the whole process of being reviewed under the legislature and eventually was signed this August. And so there was a number of, as any act is, there's a number of different elements that go into that, but one of the changes was specific to the zoning laws, including ADUs as part of Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 3, which is a protected use. And so within the memo, I gave you try to give a little bit of a breakdown of basically the timeline, what elements are changing, and then the language from the act are the changes that will take place to Chapter 48, followed by the draft update to the bylaw. So I could talk about it in detail, but I know you guys have a busy night, but I'm happy to take any questions on anything that was put forward.
John, you have it? Oh, you're on it.
No, what you've provided is updated through our last meeting, is that correct?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. That's the only thing, yeah.
That was the 7th.
You shouldn't have any, Phil. You're on it, too.
I do just want to acknowledge the work that Patrick has done and Jim Crowley has done, and the steering committee. Our meetings have typically gone over 3 hours. I think we spent a lot of attention to trying to rewrite, particularly the accessory dwelling unit bylaw to make it, meet the needs of Walpole as much as we can within the bounds of state law. So I just want to acknowledge that work and the effort, and I think the board has done a good job, the committee's done a good job on that.
Okay.
Can you just go over two little things?
Yeah.
So you did mention that the ADU can be either attached or detached to the principal dwelling. We cannot prohibit one over the other, but we can reasonably regulate dimensional requirements. So how are you dealing with that?
So what we're proposing really is to make sure if someone does choose to do a detached, that it has to conform to the setbacks of the principal dwelling unit. So not be treated as like an accessory structure, which, if it's under 15 feet can be closer, I think 6 feet from the side yard, 10 yards from the rear. That language we had in there is really just trying to make sure that it's a habitable space and it should conform to the setbacks the same way that we look at a principal dwelling unit.
Does that encompass square footage of the unit itself?
As in this,
Size of it?
Yeah, I mean, the limit is 900 square feet. It's, I believe, half the square footage of the primary, or up to 900 square feet. So,
Does, which one? So is it, when you say half the square footage of the dwelling,
if
if we
it's-
have a 3,000 square foot, you know what I mean?
it's limited to 900, no more than 900.
Maxed out
Yep.
at 9, okay. And can you just clarify, because this one I wasn't grasping.
Yeah.
The use of the land or structure for the accessory dwelling unit shall not require owner occupancy of either accessory dwelling unit or principal dwelling. So both of them could be rented out?
Unfortunately, that language comes from the statute, so that's why we had to strike that portion of our bylaw. It's, I believe in the second page, I provided the language of Chapter 48, Section 3 that they want to include, and that was one of the regulations. We can't dictate that, so
So both of them could be rented out?
I believe so.
And then, so you can't have biannual inspections. Are we having any inspections?
Well, in terms of just a building permit, really.
Just when it's issued?
One element that we were able to control was to have a limited site plan review process for detached. So the statute allows us to include that. So that was something that I know the language from both Ed and John and Phil, and myself and Jim, just making sure there's additional regulations in place that we can have for that. So rather than treating that one as just a generic building permit, there's an element where you at least can notify neighbors, can have a more structured review process within the confines of the law, so.
State's just taken away every town's identity.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
3 decades of coming next.
Probably more than that.
It's ridiculous.
Till Monday.
And I don't mean that at you guys.
Till Monday.
I'm done.
Paul?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's not much, I mean, it's been voted on, right? I mean, you've highlighted the language,
Yeah, I mean,
and there's really, other
What-
than just ask qualifying questions, Patrick, this is kind of a done deal.
yeah, unfortunately, so one of the elements, I don't know if I think I might have included in the memo, is the statute becomes official on February 2nd.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why we're bringing this back immediately is
Yeah.
because we want to have at least some protection in place. In the off chance that, a permit would have come in on February 3rd. So if we don't pass something like this, it still defaults to the state statute. So being able to control what we can control is definitely important to the steering committee, and
Can
want
I
to make
ask a
sure we
question?
include
I'm
those
sorry, I
changes.
know it's your floor.
No,
but-
go ahead. No.
So what, and I know this is likely not the route, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. So let's say we keep our statute, right?
Yep.
Knowing that if something comes before us, it defaults to the state.
Mhm.
But let's say in 5 years, the state changes that, then ours would stand again, whereas we're not as likely to revisit it quickly, if you follow what I'm trying to say. So we are slow to change. I don't mean that disrespectful. There's a lot to deal with, and you do what's most important when it comes up. So, is that a bad, route to take?
Well, it's an idea, right? And I mean, that's certainly an opinion. I think our thought is we can only control what we know, right? So the only thing is we know that this is what was passed, and we're trying to meet it, because if we don't, hypothetically, there's a scenario where we may open ourselves up to a situation where we can't have control. Like I mentioned the example of the setbacks, right? If something doesn't pass, then you do have a scenario where you may have an ADU that's, closer to the property line than it should be. I don't know. I would guess Jim just did a question. I mean, in terms of liability, if someone were to come in and apply for something, if we didn't change the bylaw, how would you go about handling that?
So right now, again, as Patrick said, we're trying to get in before February 3rd, because February 3rd, if we go with the state statute, it's a free-for-all, there's no setbacks, there's no nothing. So this will help to a limited protection, because again, this is put under Chapter 48, Section 3, which is basically, it's bulletproof. It's Dover Amendment, it's religion, it's education, it's solar. You don't stand a chance against it, so that's why we have to get something in place. If, say, in 3 years' time, the statute does change, then we'll just have to get, similar to this, we'll have to come back to town meeting to change it back to what we want it to be. So, again, we obviously have, when the warrant article is written is when it kind of takes effect. So we have the May and we have the October meetings. So you'd fall in between them to get your warrant article into play to rescind what you already did. So you would have that time frame, but it's very similar to this effect as right now this is going to take over from the in-law. It, like changing your zoning, whatever was done before now becomes pre-existing non-conforming. Even if the law does change and we have any ADUs in town, they're allowed to stay the way they are, even if the state rescind the law.
Right.
Because again, they fall under that protection of pre-existing non-conformity.
You all set?
Yeah.
You all set?
Yeah.
All right, a couple questions.
Yeah.
This is all state mandates, but we within our bylaw here can set some of our own standards. That's what you're saying, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why we need, all right, can't you just put a little thing here? Go to state for this, and this is the rest of our stuff?
I guess, but I mean, I think we want to make sure the regulations we have for ours don't conflict with the states. So there's some elements.
No, I understand that, Patrick, but I'm saying if the state tells you you gotta do this, cut and paste, go see state here, and the rest of it ours. Why
Right.
do the work for them?
No, I hear you.
So, next question on these ADUs, now that they don't have to be attached, how are you, one of you, maybe you, Jim, what are you doing for parking? Still the same? If you're in a residential neighborhood, you only get 4?
So the parking, we are able, well, it's spelled out in the law that we actually have, let me just go to the section, sorry. It's 1 per, and I believe it's a half mile from a transit station, like MBTA station, and it can be, you don't need it, yeah, thank you, yeah.
So they only get 1,
Only get 1.
but, for that, but how about the other house?
Oh,
The way it's written, we ran this by the state as well, the HLC, and they said, so our zoning says 4 cars. That's the primary house. If you do a standalone ADU, it gets its own car separate, so technically it would be 5,
Yeah.
but we can't make them knock it back down to 4. The ADU gets 1 automatically with it, and the main house sticks with the 4.
Okay, what about, you gonna allow them to put 2 driveways on a lot?
You can if you want, but that's part of what we're doing, the limited site plan to try and get some control. And again, if they already have,
Grandfathered that are in business or industrial, are they allowed to do this too?
No, so it's only districts that allow for single-family residential.
All right, so you can't even do this in a multi. So at GR, you can't do ADUs.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, yes, you can, no, you-
Because you allow for single-family as well.
yeah, so the state do a tweak, it doesn't say single-family unit, it says single-family zone district.
Okay.
So you're allowed as of right, if I have a GR lot, I can put a single-family home there. So if I'm already there, it's tied to a principal dwelling.
So if I had a 2-family in a GR, can I put an ADU in a?
Technically, if it's a standalone 2-family, you can't. If you have to meet all our setbacks, We
And
have
the square footage too?
Square footage, everything.
So you don't, they don't go by
Yeah,
10,000?
Lot coverage, setbacks, again, like lot coverage, like building structure has to be, can't be more than 40%.
Okay, but,
As long as you meet that, we can't stop it.
so if I had a 25,000 square foot lot and I got two family on it in GR, I can or cannot put another unit?
You can.
Or you can?
If you can make it fit in that lot with the setbacks
The
and all the
setbacks,
criteria.
so you can't limit them on the square footage is gone?
No, the 900 square units still.
No, on the-
10,000
on the area.
square feet. Yeah, that's gone with this law.
How many ADUs have you seen come in the last year or so?
3.
3, okay. You think this is gonna ramp it up or not?
Honestly, I think we're going to see it being, just my own personal point of view, I think where you might see it is subdivisions. You can do a subdivision with 10 houses, now I can stick 10 ADUs on there. We can't stop it. I'll see it if you, in GR districts where, just to give an example, crossing Stone Street here, we have some 2 families with some single families. The single families can't become 2 families because they're under that square footage.
Yeah.
Now they could add on the ADU to it. So in those districts, I might see it coming into play.
So just your own personal opinion, if you're building the houses now and they're $1.2 million, no one's gonna put an ADU in that neighborhood, are they?
If I'm getting
Never know.
2,500, 3,000 a month rent, it's going to pay my
No,
mortgage.
what I'm saying, that you're a developer, you'd kill your subdivision for marketing.
No, but the person who buys the
No.
house.
I understand what I'm saying, he just proposed that. If someone walks in here at 10, I wanna do another, I don't think they would, they'd be killing themselves.
It depends, honestly. I know a developer in another town that they had allowed ADUs through a special permit, and he's been adding to them because his selling point is, here's your main house. The lots are like, say, an acre of land.
Yeah,
He's saying, well, here's your house and here's your ADU on the side. You can rent that, that'll pay my mortgage.
no, I understand how that goes, but if I'm trying to sell 10 houses in a subdivision as a developer, I don't think that's gonna be a hard time to sell. One guy may want it, but the other 9 people go, I ain't moving there.
Yeah, no, that's again, that's
Okay.
going to be a.
One last question, though, is, unfortunately, we're sued, but one thing I heard is that one thing stopping ADUs, like in other towns where they don't have sewers, now you gotta upgrade your sewer, and a lot of that becomes very, very expensive, right? And you could be in a situation where you got a septic system that you can't make perk anymore, but you're grandfathered because of that. So if you're in a town without sewer, you pretty much it helps you, right?
You have to, you have to comply with the state regulations, so Title V. you still have
Yeah,
to
so
do
it
that.
kind of, that's a big stopping
Yep.
point. Yeah, and I heard of one in Norfolk, oh, I'm ready to go, and it's like, gonna cost me another 40 grand?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's not worth it.
Because part of the catch then, the state has not come back to the health board about it yet, is if I have a single family home on septic, you can't build a second, say a standalone ADU, and put a septic specifically for that ADU, it's not allowed. You have to tie it back to the main
Yeah.
septic, so that's the way it is right now.
Yeah, and
So
and you're tied to bedrooms, and so if you already have
Yeah.
3, that'd be 4 and all that.
it's
but the
going to be a
whole-
huge expense.
Yeah, but they'll change that, because it's not about the environment. It's about the houses.
Jack, could I ask a question? And just from some information here, can we, the town, control how many ADUs are built?
No,
Not at all.
no.
So once this goes, it's a free-for-all, and
It can't, like, again, they were very clever in the way they worded, they put it under section 3 of 48, which
Yeah.
again is education, church, and solar.
Yeah.
So, again, if we didn't like it as a town, we were like saying no to them, we'd be in court every single week.
yeah. But if, I'm saying, so now, okay, so now we have, you know, let's just say now it's endless ADUs, growth, you know, strain on the resources. Like, we have a growth plan here in the town of Walpole of saying, you know, we control growth and stuff like this. So how does that not control growth?
So I don't want to speculate, but
Yeah, no,
there
I'm
is
sorry.
there's an element within the regulations. If I'm trying to get the wording right, but they do want the town to monitor, obviously, how many you built and kind of provide that feedback to them. I would imagine that may be something to kind of gauge whether or not this is something that is, you know, a minor use, like there's 3 of them, or is it excessive to an extent?
Yeah.
So
Well,
if
you-
we can record how much do occur, and
I didn't know if we could set the limit, so it's like a lottery in the beginning. Hey, all those people that come forth now, sure, you're not gonna stop them. but it doesn't zone it.
Yes, so
That's
the
the-
wording as in for allowed is, again, it says reasonable restrictions, so the reasonable restrictions under section 3 is basically, it's the restrictions that are enforced on, so a single family home, that's a reasonable restriction, so we can't make up our own rules right now to say, well, we don't want this, because that's, if you don't do it in a single family home right now and enforce it, that, so we have the setbacks, we do enforce that in single family homes, so we can enforce that in the ADU. But if we said one ADU per neighborhood, we don't do that in single family homes, so yeah, that's what ties your hands as well.
And I guess, Paul, what I was talking about, so with the state, the change to 48,
Yeah.
there's also regulations that come with it. At the end of the regulations, there's a mention of annual reports. So that's something that, I guess, if in terms of,
Yeah.
is this something that's successful? Is this something that's, a burden? At least there's a way that we're kind of trying to keep record of those and monitor.
Has the state approved this in other towns?
This is everywhere.
This is everywhere.
This is the entire state.
Now, is ADUs something like coming about now, or have towns already had ADUs? Is ADU a new term, or is it ADUs?
Not really a new term. So if you recall, last year we did make a change from the in-law going to
Yeah.
ADU, and
Yeah.
we had different regulations. But there, many towns around us do have some variation of either an ADU or an in-law suite bylaw. Some are by right, some are by special permit. So I would say at least,
California's had this term a long time ago.
Yeah, well, they're all burnt,
Okay.
they're
But I
all
would
burnt
say
down, so don't worry about that.
not the majority of the state, but I would say you could estimate less than 100 towns may have had some variation.
Now, have we, the town of Walpole, asked other towns to see what their growth has been on the ADUs? Again, we've only seen 3, so, we don't have any data really to go on. Is this gonna be, super popular, or is this just gonna kind of just, you see a few a year or whatever, so?
Well, when we looked at this last year, we did kind of compare the language of other towns that they had for their zoning, in terms of how many they built. Unfortunately, I didn't really ask that information, but we did have the information from when it used to be a special permit for the zoning board, and I think the average was 6 a year. And that was from 2019, I believe 2019, 2018, when when that bylaw was added.
And a lot of the towns too also it's kind of a play on words, the ADU and in-law were virtually the same, so a lot of towns, because, again, if you do an ADU, so some towns when the town meeting, you only needed a 50% vote, rather than if you change your zoning, it was 2/3, but the ADU was only 50, so a lot of people changed the wording, but kept it as, it had to be a type of kinship, it had to be a family member, you couldn't rent them, but it made it easier for people to get them, so we didn't see a massive rise. Similar with us, we went from 6, 7 a year of in-laws,
3.
and then to 3. So I think it's kind of that one thing, if, like when you're a kid, your parents tell you, you can't do it, you want to do it, but when you're told you can do it, you're
Yeah.
like, I'm not
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
So I think when we allowed in-laws as of right, people are like, oh, I can get it whenever I want, I'm in no rush, and then dropped it. Honestly, we only got 3 the whole year long.
Okay.
Now, one last question.
Yeah.
Got to do with zoning in this. Does our zoning still hold up on other things? Like if you're on a lot that doesn't have 60% upland and you're already grandfathered, they can or can't build?
Okay.
Oh, they can't. So,
That's what part of reasonable restriction comes in. Again,
Okay.
if the upland we just tied to the ADUs, then that's something we're making specific to the ADU.
okay, if you had frontage that's 95 feet, it's an old house, can you put an ADU on it?
Yes, because you're pre-existing non-conforming.
Okay. If you had non-conforming, do they gotta go through that zoning thing where you gotta go in front of the zoning board?
To only if you're creating, so say if you had a home that you were going to just attach it to the home, and you were going into a setback, and you want to expand a non-conforming house,
Yeah, but-
you wouldn't need it. But if you're doing a standalone ADU, it has to meet our zoning on setbacks, you can't.
But
you
there were a
can't
bunch
ask
of
for-
stuff that came up to the zoning board over the last year where they had to come because it was a non-conforming, and even though they, say your house was too close to the line.
Yes.
But you wanted to put a deck out back, it had nothing to do with the setback, but they still had to come in front of the zoning board. Is that still a requirement?
No, so our zoning under section 94C on non-conformity says you can expand a non-conforming house or structure as long, as of right, if you go in the opposite direction. But if you're going into that non-conformity, you need a special permit.
What's that little caveat that, since you've been here, been used a lot, is if it was a non-conforming situation, they had to seek? What, that's still there though, right?
Yeah, so if you have a deck and you want to go closer, so you could be non-conforming due to, say, side or rear yard. If you want to go more into the rear yard, you're expanding the non-conformity, but you're not creating something new. that's a special permit through the zoning board. But if the house was non-conforming due to the left side, and you built the ADU or done a standalone ADU on the right-hand side, that met our zoning, that's an as of right, you don't need a special permit to expand that.
Okay, I'm all set. Did you have one, Phil?
I just want to say a couple of things. One is that, one of the reasons why the state is doing this is because the state does have a 200,000 deficit in housing in particularly eastern Massachusetts. So they've been doing things to try to increase the amount of housing. Hopefully it has the intended consequences, or the intended purpose. Second is that one reason we want to do the law as we wrote is that we do have a section here, a clause that calls for limited site plan review for detached ADUs. That gives some oversight. It gives the butters, ability to really have, see what's going on. So it's a limited site review, and we've made it a little bit shorter too. And then third, we know that people who were doing an in-law apartment, with the restriction that it had to be someone related, that made it more difficult for people to justify doing it when their loved one may not be there forever. So certainly, the ability to rent or to have someone else unrelated living there. And I know we did adjust that when we changed the law last year, but we still restricted, I think, to people over 65. So there was some restriction there. So other states have done this, and hopefully we have a good experience, and hopefully we can influence the state if it's not working. So, but I do, I think just to recognize we do have a housing shortage. That's why houses are so expensive. I just saw the listing came out for the property values for Walpole, was published in the Hometown Weekly, and it's quite startling how many homes are almost in the $1 million range or more. So.
What's even more quite startling is all our property tax gone up about 10% a year for the last 10 years. So that's where it is. It's one thing. Mortgages stay like this. Property tax just never ends. And I have yet to see any, this is my bully pulpit or what we want to say, I have yet to see any politician says, we're going to make it affordable, we're going to cut the property tax.
What was it? Was that word bully pulp?
Bully, whatever you call it.
The Billy Pulpit.
I know, I've never heard it. Sounds good.
Theodore Roosevelt
Oh, okay.
used that term, the bully pulpit.
Yeah, you've probably been here too long, all that overtime. Oh, that's right. Monday's off, holiday.
But in general,
Yeah, we're all
though,
set.
any other questions,
think
any
everybody-
other,
Oh,
okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the
Jim.
future, though, if you guys want to see anything, please feel free to reach out to either me and Jim. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, thank
Bye-bye.
you, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Eddie.
Chad, before you get too far, can we do Nadine?
What's this?
It's just an extension for Nate, for Optima.
all right. We had a Optima Hospitality at 7:30. It's past 7:30, so I make this announcement. As counsel on behalf of the applicant, request the board vote to continue the hearing scheduled for tonight, January 16th, on testimony until February 6th, 2025. And they're going to give us an extension through February 28th, 2025. So first, I make a motion to accept the extension.
Second.
So we have a bunch of seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
And on behalf, Nadine, you're gonna be back here on
The
the
6th.
6th? You already got reservations?
Yes, she does, 7:30.
Wow, you must know somebody to get those. All right, I need to tell everybody the time.
7:30.
Okay, no testimony tonight, this will be continued to
Right.
February 6th at 7:30. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay, so. Thank you.
Yes. No, I did not.
All right, with the hour being after 7:10, we have Rocco Realty Trust for 3 Heidi Street and Heidi Street definitive subdivision. And before we open it, we have an issue with the notifications. We do not have one of the notifications.
So one,
No,
it's,
we don't even have the white slip.
there's no, that's what I'm saying, there's no proof of mailing or receipt.
No, the white slip isn't even here.
Neither, it's neither. It's for Victoria Clancy and Brian Gallagher, 32 Carl Road. All the others are here, I checked them. That one, I don't have a white or a green.
Bear with me while I look at my list.
Yep.
Kate, I emailed the list to you earlier, didn't I?
That's the one she's using.
I'm not finding my list.
Do you want me to show you?
Yep. And in response to your,
Yep, so I checked all of them, and I checked, so Kate had checked them, and then I went through and checked them, and I put the line where each one was, and all the others are here, but I don't see anything for that. And it's this one right here. It's Victoria Clancy and Brian Gallagher. So just make sure I didn't miss it and it was under the other name, but
Clerk's office, state room. Social statement.
it's 32, Carl.
Their last.
Last page that had a receipt but not a green, which I'm not seeing.
This is all I have.
and it was stapled when you gave it to me, Lou.
Is
I just checked it tonight, so.
Jeez. You okay?
So here's the receipt that it was mailed to them.
Okay, that's,
However, the green card never returned, so obviously I can't force them to
Okay.
pick the mail.
All right, no, that's so can I take that? So we have it?
Yeah,
well,
We'll just make a copy.
you can email it to
the
me.
original of this was
street is still
what
owned by
you just showed me.
But it's not here.
And I'm glad they make a copy
Yeah.
for you.
If
Yeah,
you
just
could get us a
email it to me,
copy of it.
don't take your
Okay.
copy.
Okay, sure as that, bro.
Yep.
Lou, it was stapled together, I didn't unstaple it, so it wasn't with the one you sent me.
It must have fallen off.
Yeah,
As long as we have it,
The one you
just send
dropped
it to
off.
us, okay?
Thank you.
They should have accepted that stuff. So it puts it in.
Yeah, I'm wondering if
He
they
did
actually.
signing it, it just wasn't, he did, it does proof.
He has proof.
So it's all set.
Yep.
Good.
Very nice, Pete.
We can go. All right. The hour being after 7:10, we have a public hearing from Rocco Realty Trust, Walpole, Mass. for definitive subdivision plan for 3 Heidi Street and Heidi Street on a subdivision plan modification, Swanee Estates. And it's said, assesses map 45, lot 95 in rural district. With that being said, we're open and have at it.
Thank you. Attorney Louis Cacavero on behalf of the applicant. I am very pleased to be present tonight to present on behalf of the applicant. I'm also very pleased that the board composition has remained the same since I was here last on this particular project, because this is frankly a mirror image of what we did in 2023. You may recall that we petitioned and went through a series of hearings over the proper procedure to use in connection with the proposed development of Lot 100 at 24 Heidi Street. There were a lot of machinations that we went through in terms of what procedure to use. Ultimately, it was settled upon a subdivision modification under 81W of the Subdivision Control Act. Your town council reviewed that, approved it. There are memos in that particular file that support that this is the proper procedure to use. And we would like to do the very same thing at the other end of Heidi Street. Lot 95, which has been assigned the street number 3 Heidi, lends itself perfectly to the development for one single-family home in a fashion very similar to that which we proposed for the other end of Heidi Street. Access into the lot with appropriate setbacks. I should note for the board that this project has been approved at both Concom as well as Board of Health. And we understand that engineering has reviewed this, and fire and police safety have reviewed this, and are supportive of our project. So I'm happy to get into details of procedure and details of the project, and I would direct your attention to your previous file for the other lot at the other end of Heidi Street, if there are documentation or items that you think should be part of this particular package. I remember from last time you wanted things like title exam, you wanted copies of a number of Registry of Deeds documents and the like. All of those things were generated and are part of that previous filing. We can regenerate them if you think it's appropriate for purposes of documenting this file as well. But we would be very hopeful that after we get through your questions and concerns tonight, we'd be in a position to move forward to closing the hearing and obtaining the approval that we need to go forward here. I do have Mr. Bissonette, by the way, present to answer engineering questions. He's the author of the plans in question.
All right, well, I'll do, the big one here is, I'm looking at your little cul-de-sac, and it appears that you're only encompassing one lot. Are you getting rid of Heidi Street, or what are you doing?
So we had a lot of discussion last time about what Heidi Street is. And ultimately, everybody concurred that it's a paper street that exists on a 1969 subdivision plan. It was never built out, obviously, to specifications, was never accepted by the town as a public street. So it exists as a paper street. Everything in between this lot and the other lot that was approved down here will remain vegetated, unless we obviously come back for further approvals at some point in the future, or somebody does. And the use and rights over that paper street are limited to those folks who own lots that abut it.
Okay.
That's the derelict fee statute
Yeah, no,
question.
I
Yep.
understand. Well, where I'm going, well, do you have anybody on this end of the bus that has a lot on Heidi Street, like at the other end?
There are,
Other than the owner?
yeah, there was one lot implicated last time. There was a gentleman by the name of Butters
Yeah, he's on Heidi Street at the other end.
at the other end.
How about on this end?
And on this end, there are two lots that are implicated
Right.
that have frontage on Carl Road, but have rights to use that portion of Heidi Street that's limitedly paved and
Where is
provides
that?
access to
Is there
their
frontage on Heidi?
frontage is on Carl.
Oh,
Their access is on Heights.
The corner lots, Jack.
Yes, they're corner lots.
They're corner lots.
They weren't on the bidders list.
Their
They
existing
weren't on the
houses
bidders
on
list.
corner lots of Heidi and Carl.
okay, but that's a matter, but they have frontage on Carl. Or they,
They do.
Yes, they're frontage on Carl.
okay, so,
Lots 110 and 111.
all right, but what I'm asking, all the way down to the Butters, is there anybody,
No, between this and Butters, there are not.
it's all by Swanee, or it was never, those are the only two lots on this whole thing, one and another, so,
Yep.
I'll go to the cover sheet. My understanding is that Butters own this property here.
Yeah, he owns
And
like-
they also own the second property.
I think he owns two.
Yes,
Correct.
so these two here.
Yeah, okay, but the rest of them, well, where I'm going with this, you don't need any co-applicants or anything else.
That's correct.
All right, I'm trying to procedural here. This is a one-lot subdivision or not?
So subdivision modification, which we kind of pigeonholed these two projects, the one from 2 years ago and the one now, into this 81W procedure modification.
Okay, but wouldn't you procedurally have all the rest of the lots be considered one, and that would be a second? For what I'm saying, Kyle?
I get what you're saying, Mr. Chairman, but we didn't do that on the other end.
No, because they had two lots on it. They had Butters' plus theirs. On this particular one, there's nothing up there. What I'm saying is trying to avoid the one-lot subdivision, which you can't have, but wouldn't these, the rest of it all become, Heidi goes away, is that what you're saying?
No, Heidi will continue to exist. The applicant will, Jimmy, I don't want to touch your plans, but if you bring me that face sheet
All right.
again, so I can point to all the lots. So this applicant will own 10 lots on both sides of the paper street.
Yeah.
He intends to develop this one, which you approved 2 years ago, the application in front of you tonight is this one, Locust. And he'll continue to own those lots, and he'll continue to own the Paper Street, portions of which in common with others that have frontage, like the
Yeah.
butters.
Okay.
So it's not a one-lot subdivision, it's the modification of an existing subdivision.
Okay, all right.
So hopefully that,
What you just said, I kind of grasped it, is we did one like this a long time ago where the developer didn't want to go all the way through. We made him put a cul-de-sac. He called it temporary, and like I said, nothing's temporary. So it was designed like that. And then he had such a good time up there, meaning they sold the lots real quick. He just never built it. So, all right, now I'm grasping what you're doing. So this is just a modification of subdivision road by doing it like this. Okay. Does the lot, does it still meet zoning?
Yes, it does.
yes, it does.
Okay, for the number of square feet.
Number of square feet, frontage, area, the like.
Yeah, I can
Yep.
see the frontage, you're gonna grab it anyway. He had more than enough before, now you're grabbing off the circle. Okay, now I understand. So it's not one, we're modifying.
Exactly.
I grasp that now. All right, so you guys in the clear, you got no, he owns everything else beyond. All right, I just wanted to bring that one back. So now, if you want to do the rest of the,
So, I'll turn it over to Mr. Bissonette in a moment. The only procedural item that I want to bring to your attention, and we caught it as in preparation for tonight, my cover letter, which essentially amounts to the application, and Jamie's plans, there's some discrepancy in the waivers requested. It was typographical on my part, and not only will I send to Kate tomorrow that missing receipt from certified mailing, but I'll also send an updated or a corrected cover letter so that my requested waiver is matched that which is on the plan. The language on the plan is what controls. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
all right, and I have a note before if you're all done presenting, right?
Correct.
That was quick. I got a note from Kate, says we didn't get a DIS statement.
Designer certificate?
What?
The DIS.
Development impact statement.
Yeah, that was one of the waivers requested.
Okay, that's a waiver request, okay. And what was the other one? Oh. Name request, do we?
Is it gonna stay?
It's gonna stay, I mean, either, are you gonna keep it Heidi? What's the
think
other
so.
end then?
I think, I don't
think you want, you better talk to the fire department on that one. Think about it, you can't have two Heidis, Kyle, can you?
Oh, I see what you're
They're
saying.
not paving through, right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. In my memo, not to corrupt the process, Mr. Chairman,
okay.
in my memo, I actually said it could be a Carl Road address. There's a gap in the numbers there. And we have done that before, like on 26 Baker
Okay.
Street, a few of those, 54 Peach.
Yeah, I'm not the fire department, but, you know, this is 3 Heidi, and I forget what the other one is.
And if they go to the wrong end and there's a
Yeah, and
fire,
that's
it's
a
problematic.
long way around, so you might, and the other thing, when you come back, make sure, let them talk to over there, fire department, see if they're cool with going out.
So if and when we get to a favorable decision, which we hope, maybe you just oblige us to go coordinate with public safety over the street address so that there's no confusion in their mind.
Do that now, all right?
Yeah, we're happy to do that.
Did you, okay, let me read these and see where we are before, unless you got something else, no? Okay, let's see, Board of Water and Sewer, they got no issues or no comments? Issues at all,
Different thing.
from the police department, Luke Powon, safety officer, he does not have any, traffic safety concerns. From Board of Health, they voted unanimously to approve the proposed plan, but commented prior to construction, the septic must be submitted.
If they ask you to.
Congratulations, you're the first one in a long time that got an approval. Usually it's we recommend, or we, you know, not 100%. Oh, we do got something for the fire department, and I got cows for the, I'll read the fire. I'll read whatever's acceptable is, I mean, accepted, but, the turnarounds to be maintained year-round. If a gate is installed, but you're not gonna put a,
we're proposing a gate at the end
Oh.
here with a Knox box for the fire department.
Why would,
So this is actually gravelled the whole way
Yeah.
in between with drainage structures, utility poles, and a water line that's been installed.
oh, it's for the, yeah,
So in case the fire department needs to get down for any reason, we want them to have the ability to, but we don't want to promote access through a road that's not tarred and completed.
Yeah, it's not paper, it's partially constructed.
that's right, it was the water line.
I walked it, yeah.
Yeah, that, okay. All right, they want one gate that swings left or right, gee. And it, when open, should have a they want to make sure it locks and everything else, but didn't it, it's funny, the sewer and water didn't have anything to say about that, did they, Carl?
No.
You wouldn't think, you would have thought they might have wanted it, right? Is there a pipe?
It is, I guess.
Okay.
It never was given to us, though.
And the two waivers, they request not to be granted more than one house and on the lot. And it's interesting here, I didn't see it, is unless they missed it, and Kyle, and I think everybody else knows it, they didn't talk about turnarounds. Oh, where's, I'm sorry, surface markings on the road and the turnaround is acceptable. Okay. So you got that one through too. So you don't, other than the gate, the fire department didn't have any issues. Kyle's turn?
Mr. Chair, thank you. I did deliver a memo January 13th to the board. The applicant has it. There are very few comments on it. The first one, I note the conservation, we reviewed the drainage with conservation and with the applicant, and they were all set with it. I note that this proposal actually there's a basin down there, overflow, et cetera, and whatnot, so there's pretty regular stormwater management here. I also noted, as Attorney Carcavaro has said, that there were discrepancies in the waivers. He's addressed that. And half the rest of the comments are about this plan showing that drainage from Kyle Road goes down Heidi, and there are manholes and catch basins there and whatnot. And I want to share it on the, show it on the plan, not so much because we need it or not tying into it, just to make sure that this plan memorializes the fact that it's there, that somebody doesn't pick it up in the future and so, oh, there's no drainage there. So we want to have that shown. And one of the manholes will have to be brought to grade and have a structure put on it if it doesn't, as part of improving the way to get to this lot. Finally, I've noted that we need to have a there's a typo on comment 7. We need to add to the details a town standard sign. It's not a no parking fire lane sign. It should be a regular street name sign. For whatever road this is named, there's going to have to be a street sign at Kyle Road identifying what street name this is, and it should have a private way, also have a private way sign on it. Finally, when we did the other one on all private ways that aren't going to be accepted, we do a private way covenant and a mutual maintenance agreement. They did one for number 24 Heidi. It kind of combined the two documents together, so it stated that it would remain private and it also addressed maintenance. We can either revise that one or do a new one for this. It applies to the same subdivision, so process-wise, I'm not sure which one will go. I guess we can leave that issue open, but
It's almost like two subdivisions, right?
it is.
Separate.
It is. I suppose we could put one very similar document on with this one.
As a title examiner, I'd want to see it with this lot. So, and we worked cooperatively very well together last time, drafting language he was
That lot,
comfortable
yeah, 'cause
with.
that's, yeah, because you're going to get people confused. Yeah.
Fair enough. Another similar document needs to be
Another similar
generated and
document
done
would
for this
work
one.
cooperatively
The
with
prior
that.
one was done and reviewed and recorded and whatnot, so really, that's it. My apologies for the typo. I guess I cut and pasted. I put a couple attachments on the memo to show the original Swanee plan and the drainage, and then our beautiful typical street sign detail is there. So that's it.
Okay. All right, you guys all set before we open it up? John?
So the proposal is to have basically a T turnaround, not to actually do the cul-de-sac?
I'll let Jamie speak to that, yeah.
That is correct, yes. So we're seeking a waiver from the cul-de-sac as we did on the other end.
Will the fence interfere with snow plowing? at the
No,
end?
no, it won't. There's plenty of room. The fence is actually placed about 20 feet beyond the edge.
Beyond the edge of it. And let me see. What's the other map? Nothing behind there, so there's room there. What is this? Septic. That's our
Basin,
basin, yeah. Okay, so there's room to put the snow. Okay, and all the lots in between here and the other side are all owned by the same person, the original
The
developer?
applicants.
Okay. And he owns this one also, the one that's being,
Yeah, there'd be 10 in total.
The
okay,
applicant does not, the applicant's purchasing it and purchasing all of those lots.
all of those lots, okay.
And part
So
of
it'll be
your
in one
package is a
common ownership
P&S.
So that they're not cutting off anyone further down, that's all.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So you have a little bit of wetlands in one corner. Shouldn't affect that.
Yeah, we've been through conservation. There was a small modification to the line, which they approved at their last hearing last week. And the stormwater was reviewed and okayed as well.
So the road from Carl to your finished proposal is a private road?
Right now, yeah, Heidi Street is
Okay.
private right now. And
So even the stub that's in place currently is technically a private road?
yes,
Okay. And is there an issue because the two corner lots are both accessing that private road?
I don't,
Well, we're not going to impede their current
Okay.
situation at all. In
No,
fact,
I know what you're doing, but is there an issue because neither one of them is one of the owners, so you have two people using your private road technically without, do they have
They have rights to
easements
do
for
it.
it? or-
Yeah.
They've got rights in it.
They have-
They've got rights there. They have,
Okay, no problem.
by virtue of the originally approved subdivision.
Okay. Bill?
But they're, right now, those two houses are accessing it from Carroll Road, not from...
No, they're accessing it.
They're, they are,
Stub.
okay, from...
Yeah.
the driveways both come
The
in.
driveways
Oh,
both
okay,
come out onto
okay,
the
I
stub
see,
that's
yeah, okay, just
in
make sure,
place.
okay. Yeah, I don't think I really have any questions, I think everything's been pretty well answered, so.
Thank you.
No, I don't have anything, I just have a question. So, there's a gate on the new lot,
Yes, in the road.
right? Is there one on the other one you did?
There was not.
And why is that? So, I'm not saying you need a gate.
Sure.
Just clarify for me why they didn't need one. You could drive through the same way, couldn't you?
I don't think it was a matter of need. Right now, at the end of the road, there's actually a kind of a mound.
There's a big rock there.
Yeah, to drive down and get over would be very difficult, even with an excavation machine. By opening this up, that takes the biggest obstacle out of the way, I think, of getting down there. Chainsaw cutting some trees and clearing, you'd probably be able to traverse the rest of the way down pretty easily. So this, getting rid of this here to clean it up is gonna free that. Right now, nobody can get out, I don't believe.
Okay, that's all I had.
I just want to make sure, so I understand this is a modification, but, and this particular owner is going to own 10 parcels, he's only building on one. What stops him from selling off the 9 down the road?
Well, frankly, nothing can be done with them unless they come back to you. So you're the stopgap.
Okay. So what we're just approving basically is just that one lot that
Yeah.
he's going, he'll own 10, that's fine, that's just for, but,
And he can go for a walk in the woods.
yeah.
But nothing further could happen in there unless either he as the owner, or if he were to sell or pass it on, nothing's going to happen in there unless they come back through you. And frankly, development of those interior lots is probably going to open up a lot of discussion about the need for this to be a road built to specification. So you'll have control over that and all the drainage questions and the like.
Okay. No further questions, Jeff?
What just was said, once he's become private, it'd have to be all in the same ownership, wouldn't it, for them to develop the lots in between, wouldn't it?
Yep,
Well, everybody have to agree. One guy just can't run with it, right?
right.
And I think at the other end, if I remember right, wasn't at the cul-de-sac, wasn't the house kind of like, was it on the road or was it kicked to the side? I
It was
don't know.
kicked up into one of the lots, if I recall. We did a cul-de-sac turnaround
Yeah.
sufficient to meet fire
I
safety
remember, but
concerns.
some reason I thought the house might have been straight ahead, but it's probably off to the side then. Okay.
The cul-de-sac was just an approved plan.
Oh, very similar, okay.
As a matter of fact, it's so similar that when they came with it, I thought they were modifying the first one and not a new one, so it's very similar to the original
Wasn't
one.
this a big rush last time? What, there's no house there?
Down the other end?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're asking it.
it was a big rush last time. What happened?
A lot of title work to do.
All right, everybody all said here, anybody in the audience, questions, comments, come up, if not, all right. So you got just a few minor things to get, and
So I'm going to deliver a certified mailing receipt. I'm going to do a revised cover letter of application correcting my requested waivers. Plans, I don't think you've asked for any changes other than the street name question. So how about Carl Road Extension? Do you like,
Oh, the town doesn't like that.
oh, you don't like those? Okay.
I don't think.
The fire department doesn't
Fire
like it
will
because
do
they've
it.
changed ones that we used
just
to be
ask
like
them, and
that.
it'll be easier. We'll probably go with Kyle Road anyway, so.
So you'd like for us to incorporate Carl's comments onto the plan
Yeah,
revisions?
everything goes on there,
Onto
yep.
the fire department and the fire department's gate revisions? And that's pretty
That's,
much
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
So, probably have to be February, what, 20? February 20, you get it all together? You gotta get to us 2 weeks ahead.
2 weeks ahead. So when would be the meeting? Sorry.
What's the date, 20th?
The 20th at, say, 7:15.
Yeah, so
Something else, then we'll have to do something else.
they have to have it, what, 14 days, 6th of February, all the stuff in? I assume it's,
Can you handle that?
Yeah, they want the changes made to the plan. The, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to attend the 20th. I'll
Oh.
be here. That's okay.
I can't either. I'm out of state.
He's not?
No. I was saying how good the
Chatting
candy was.
about that date being
Oh.
problematic for us. And you don't have a meeting before then.
you're not gonna get it in time. You have to have everything in and all back to us 14 days prior to the next meeting.
Yeah, I think we can meet that timeframe. It's the meeting.
It's the meeting itself, we're having trouble getting either of us here.
Is that something that you can just come and?
March 6th.
So Al can attend the meeting. We'll get the plans in earlier.
So the 20th is fine. Do we need extension, Kate?
No.
Okay. So with everything being set, we got time?
7:15
Officially?
on the 20th.
I'm away the next
All right, we'll
week.
continue this hearing 7:15 on February 20th.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Janet, should we take
Start
an
working on a
extension in case
covenant?
something
Yeah,
falls
why not?
through? Where they're not gonna be here?
Sign it up, exactly.
Okay, all right.
You have to have,
That's what I wanted.
What is it? Yeah, do we do A&R for South Street to get Dan out of here? Kate wants something new? Ask him if he wants to do the South Street A&R to get Dan out of here.
South Street A&R to get Dan out of here.
Do I? I know, he interrupted our thing.
Go nice to Danny.
Who's doing the Russo's A&R?
Hey, I gotcha.
Oh, he's doing the A&R?
No, so is Danny.
Who's doing the South Street? Not us, we're just doing ourselves?
South Street's just one plan, yeah, take one page.
Whose is that? Anybody? Is anybody here for that?
Carl, do they turn the heat off at like 7 o'clock? They hear we're coming and they turn it off?
2 days
to
ago,
take
we
South
had
Street
to
out
have
of order.
space heaters upstairs.
No, then that's
It's-
really doesn't
Yeah, it's
matter.
going on. Today it
We're
was
sitting out there
fine.
waiting for South Street.
No,
All right.
not that I know of.
A&R. Give you 2 minutes.
My dogs with me to cuddle up.
Quick.
Are they?
It's freezing in
Are
here.
they ready to go through cuddlewood?
Yes.
I got new pens, please notice.
Thank you, Kate.
Merry Christmas.
Always at our back.
I kinda like the bigger ones.
That's where my 10% a year property taxes have gone.
Stop.
Right here. Well, you stop, it's true. Take a look at yours. All right. Everybody take a copy.
Unbuildable land behind 505 South Street. We're splitting it into unbuildable. Small parcel on the top right of the plan is going to be conveyed to the owner of 505 South Street.
Or parcel B.
Parcel B. So no frontage. None of them are buildable.
Okay. And Kyle, no issues?
No issues
I mean, with the plan.
with the plan.
Okay. Just tracking Kyle. All right. Make a motion. Anybody got questions, or? You don't know what it is, right? 505 is what? Good. Solar panels, right?
No.
505 is Tufts.
Tops.
Oh, Tufts. Okay.
This is directly behind Tufts. Parcel B is directly behind Tufts.
Solar panels are just above on the parcel on the top.
Yeah, I'm looking at that, at the top. Okay. All right. Make a motion to endorse.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Does that thermostat work if we bounce it out?
It's part of the I think he's got the Mylar. He's got the Mylar down there.
Sign it. Is that hot?
75.
Did you put it at
I'm
75?
sorry?
Is that hot?
See, this is good when you can write.
I don't know. Ours
Texas,
doesn't
go
go up.
Texas.
Are you serious?
My insurance rates are cheaper.
I have a 10-pound blanket for it.
That's insanity.
I love it. I have to have a cold. Thanks for that.
I have a question. Why can't we share things?
Why can't,
Why do we all need our own? Had to share.
you have to share.
Were you in short sleeves? Did you get nervous when you were all going?
There's no sign on the back door, so it just came rolling in.
He's at the other door.
Don't sneak in the back.
This is, it's a common driveway, 2 hearing notices,
Okay.
and no green cards. I'll give you all that to start.
No green cards.
What do you mean, no green cards?
Just give me the, no, that's yours. All right, I need the other one.
What of the?
Right there. She gave you 2 pieces of paper.
Jeez, I look
You
around.
have your pens?
No, you, see, that's all mine too. What are you doing?
Sorry.
Let me sit here, that's yours.
I'm cold, I can't think.
Okay.
Your hands are turned.
All right, with the hour being after
7:20 and
7:20 and 7:21, we have hearings for 397 Elm Street. One is for a special permit common driveway on a section 10E, and one's for subdivision plan. Before we start, do we have the notifications? You got all the green cards?
I do not have all the white cards.
Well, that's gonna be an issue, because you guys just sent them out, what, Friday? It's not a lot of time for people to react to it. Did you get any green cards back?
We did, we got 4 back out of 10,
Well,
one of which, of the 10 is the owner.
But why don't we have them?
because they didn't send them out until, what, Friday? Right?
Yeah, but usually we have them ahead of time.
No, I know we should have it ahead of time, but also the fact that, all right, we got a little issue that they kind of went out late thinking about it, is they wouldn't have, if you sent them Friday, they may not get them until Saturday, if Saturday. I live up in the neighborhood, sometimes I don't get my mail from here for 3 days. So given that it's that close, there's an issue of people not being notified in a timely fashion. So. My thought is, if you just push it to the next time, so that you know everybody got them, because we don't want to have, you don't need a necessary appeal that no one, someone says, I know it wasn't here, whatever. They get them for the next time, and they show up, and they miss this hearing, they could appeal it, so.
When would be the next hearing?
Six. But my question is, when they receive these notices that were sent out, it's gonna show tonight, not the 6th.
Oh, jeez.
That's fine, they can just, we can wait for them, because we'll send out our own letter, just so they get it, that it's been
Oh, we're
moved.
just continuing the hearing.
Nah, well,
Well, that's not,
Or you're gonna open it,
what?
and you open it.
No, I don't want to,
Oh.
no, because we could open to continue to
but
another
what
date.
happened was, when I didn't receive the green cards, I sent out notices on Wednesday or Thursday of both the common drive and the definitive. They were not certified, I just sent them both to all the abutters and the surrounding towns. And then we talked, and he was gonna send them out when he was supposed to, blah, blah, blah. So now, the fact that they went out by certified mail after I sent them out, the people are gonna get that notice, and it's gonna say
Tonight.
tonight.
Yeah, no, I
So how do you
understand.
wanna handle that?
Well, the simplest way would be, for us.
To
send-
resend them?
Not necessarily certified, since they already got them,
Right,
just to
right.
say it wasn't opened, it was continued, because the cards weren't here, so they know that they're 100% first time. It's better for us to do it, because you don't need to send them certified again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we'll just send them to all the abutters who are supposed to be there and said, look, due to a snafu of notifications, and we assume you got your green cards, this hearing scheduled for tonight was not open, and it's been postponed until this date on February 6th. That way, everybody, no one can bitch about that. Something else they can, but not necessarily that.
We
So,
can't control that.
yeah. I just don't, never wanted to, not like stalling, but I never want to have us, something that can be appealed on something.
Certainly
Technically.
expected we were going to close the hearing this evening.
Yeah, oh, that would have been.
I understand.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's, with the 6th isn't a deal breaker, if
No.
you will.
Yeah.
What I would ask, though, is there any review letters that come in that we would be able
You
to
can't do that.
take a look at?
What you can do, because our policy is very simple. If they send them to us, we don't know if they're gonna pull them back again. But what you can do is solicit individual, like Carl. You can get his, you can get anybody else. They've sent it to us,
Okay.
all right? And because we've had situations where someone's put in years ago, we want this, 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 this. And it got pulled out before the meeting, and then I was like, it changed, and it was like, what happened? They thought they were getting hosed by someone in the town department.
Okay.
So, but, and the other thing is, when you're talking to them, at least you'll know if they're not gonna change it. You know what I mean? It's like if you're talking to Kyle, yeah, when I gave the comments on this date, they're fine to go.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, we.
I'll tell you what, since I'm a nice guy, see who we got here for you. Fire Department,
Okay.
Board of Health, Carl, and Sewer and Water. So, those are pretty simple. I think you probably got them from all the people in there. Yeah, you can get them anytime, but. I got Carl's, huh?
Carl. Yeah. Let's go to the other ones too.
Word of warning is, you wanna go on the 6th, not a problem. But if you're gonna make changes, don't give them to us, because we can't entertain them. We'd have to send it back out for another 14-day review.
Correct. What we'd like to do, obviously, is take in some of the other comments from the other boards and start working with them.
Exactly.
We have a Conservation Commission meeting scheduled for next week. We have a meeting with Carl and Land is scheduled for next week. We are in the riverfront area, so we have some hurdles there, but it's always good to get it in. But no, we're not gonna make changes and try and.
We've had a lot of people do that, and all of a sudden you got, what's this, and.
No, we may
Yeah.
come in with a sketch to address a comment that was made, present that to the board as an idea,
Yeah.
but
No,
not
I
a full
understand.
revised.
Yeah,
plan.
okay.
You
You're
know.
gonna get a jump, that's all you're gonna do.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's, the purpose of the letter.
And we're all set for the only extension? Okay.
You don't need one.
And we're gonna continue this to what? 6th of February, at what time?
February 6th at 7:40.
Okay, we'll continue this public hearing to February.
Oh, and 7:41, it's both the definitive and common
February 6th
drive.
at 7:40 and 7:41, and we're doing this without testimony. We will send out to the residents, and we'll copy you guys, so you see the same thing.
Thank you.
All right.
On the plan, the overlay district should be referenced on here, as well as the zoning district.
Yeah, but you can't change it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, they can't change it
Yeah,
now, but
yeah.
Yeah, just,
you're right.
All right, thank you.
all right. Believe me, I live just up the street, and I get her mail. She mails on a Friday. Sometimes I see it Wednesday.
We got 4 back.
Yeah,
And one was Mr. Madden, the previous owner,
Oh,
who
okay.
made the list, so there were
Yeah,
basically 5, they have purchased the property, so we got half.
It depends on the vacation schedules, to this, what they feel like, because it's not, they can walk around, they do right off the truck, so. Okay, see you on the 6th, and hopefully you get a jump on it. Thank you. That being said, we gotta sign South Street.
You do.
Was that Truax? Yeah.
This is page 3 of hash brown that was missing when we signed it, so all you're gonna do is sign those copies, all 4 of them, and we'll add them to the site plan. Please.
And we're gonna sign 4 copies, right?
Yep.
Oops.
Good night.
Night.
Night. Stick them in your pocket.
Do we have to make a motion to endorse that or no?
No, we already made the motion. It's
To
just a
endorse
missing-
this.
We'll just do it this way, John.
That's fine, yeah.
That'd be easier.
You want me to hold something down for you?
Come on, Farm Hot Dog, you never had one?
No.
Good.
Cumberland Farm My dog.
Yeah, you ever seen the little girl?
Yeah.
They got? Yeah, they got that, they got ones with cheese, they got other stuff.
Really?
Little buns in there.
Jack, I don't,
Have
Awesome.
there been many responses to this?
Best part is like
Yeah.
2-3
yeah,
hours
they
later,
happen.
you work, you can taste them all.
I haven't seen how many, but
Jack,
there
absolutely.
cards in
Oh,
there.
man.
Okay.
Jack,
Have you looked?
I've been looking, I've looked at the picture.
that sounds tough.
That is hilarious.
That
I
sounds
thought
tough.
the
So
change,
if some night, you know,
Yeah.
hot dog.
shiny
One would be extremely difficult.
Have
The
you looked
others,
in the news?
I'm gonna
Not
bring my
quite.
doggy bag from dinner,
That they did
from
on
now
the
on
side.
Thursday
Like
night.
the
What's
windows?
in?
Yeah, Mexico.
I haven't been in there, but I've gone by it.
My
yeah.
dogs
I-
eat better than,
I had a check to bring by Tommy tonight, and I looked in, I was like, I couldn't believe.
I saw the sign on the gas station.
I heard that, yeah. I saw it on social media somewhere, but I heard that they took over the whole strip.
We got a couple of
Sakura.
indications as possibles.
Jack, I'm sorry to tell you, my dogs eat better.
you're doing very detective work. Yeah.
It'll work, but
The first one,
cut it out.
Yes,
so
I've
that-
been, I went in and
So the bar was on the other
I
side.
didn't know where to go.
That would
It
be
was like
hard
a door.
because nothing that
nothing
was in
really
the picture is
clue
there
except
today.
that.
Yeah, nothing is there today.
my first guess was,
Let's go for 7-Eleven pizza or
I'm
something.
not sure if that's right.
I think it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah, yeah, they were on.
We had a lot of fun doing
Oh,
that.
yeah, and there were,
Take them out
The
of
thing
the
is,
box,
I saw one
my hot dog.
I didn't at first see the one that over by the
Yeah, that's
other
right.
Yeah,
side.
sure.
I never look over there.
I
'cause
know,
always
that was-
come in the other
Rolled
way.
Yeah.
So I saw more.
You know what's good too is,
We
let's
would
say,
have liked to fit them
so
all.
your daughter and son-in-law, the six is done.
Anything.
Oh, my God.
Whatever's on that count, that hot dog's gonna kill right now.
Eight more to go.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
suppose
yeah.
that.
Awesome.
is it just one?
Did you buy a
Yeah,
scratch
it-
ticket
it-
while you were there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to overly crowd it, so it kind of
It's
a,
like done up.
Really?
Oh, yeah, after,
A lot
yeah.
of people like
Let's
to
do
look
get
at
around,
pictures that are there from all
I just
Yeah,
got
there's
back
no flies on
I
it.
just got back from Florida.
Did they? Of course they did. Having fun, right?
I guess
I
the
like the fun
storm
pictures. Yeah.
was a little before nighttime.
The fun.
Yeah, it was like a year before I was born.
Okay. I lived through that fun.
How's Teach doing, all right?
Different city.
How's your son doing, all right?
Our whole city, our whole downtown was
Peanut butter and jelly is
electricity,
better
no
That's why they
water.
built
than
them.
a gas
That's
station
why
hot dog.
that's why it was built. Yeah.
Pump to it.
Fun control.
Peanut butter's
I think,
never been up.
Jack, I think you need to pick
Yeah,
up
oh, we had no water, no
Katie one
gas,
night and take it for a hot dog.
No,
no electricity.
I'm gonna pass.
Days.
Why?
The bridges were wiped out. They had to bring in the
Why?
the Army Corps of
You
Engineers to
can't-
put up baby
I
bridges.
think we should all, I think Jack,
Yeah.
If I burp right now.
oh, God, shit.
1955 flood in Torrington.
I know, I'm not done, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was devastating. Yeah, 8
Boring my
people.
life would be without planning board.
We can
That's
actually,
right,
we can
yeah.
actually get.
So eight people died, and they were just wiped away in their houses. Didn't even know what was going on.
I'll bring that
I remember
down.
my father was crossing the bridge, working one of the last ones to cross
So
it.
we
Really that big?
we spiral too easy at these meetings. Just
Why is
keep
it
it on
that
You got
track.
some sausage
I'm
stuff,
sorry,
too.
let's keep it on track.
All right.
All
No,
right,
that,
I gotta, you guys can sign Mr. Petruzzi's.
Bring it here.
Oh, you're not
Someone's gonna
signing?
make a motion.
Make a motion to endorse.
Union
Second,
Square,
Union Square.
finding the appeal period has ended with no appeals. And,
Second?
wait a minute,
Wait a minute.
these are the two things that Mr. O'Leary wanted
Okay.
as chair for
John, do you
Union
want
Square.
to?
I have a copy, yeah. No, well, as far, regarding the thing is,
Don't go buy another hot dog.
one of our special conditions was that they either seek a special permit for the common driveway or come through with documentation saying it's not necessary. He has supplied a letter, Jim Crowley, saying it's not necessary. I don't agree with it, but he supplied what we more or less requested. I still think the special permit is needed, but they've provided what I asked for, so you can endorse us, as far as I'm concerned, yeah. Now, is it just the three people who voted who endorse, or?
Who
I thought we
voted?
only voted with 3 when we voted.
I don't remember.
Anyone can endorse.
Were you? Did you?
Anyone can endorse because.
Right, anyone can endorse, yes, but who were the,
Meaning, was I out?
I think you might have been absent that day.
But you can still endorse.
you can still endorse, yes, you can.
Where is
Because
it?
my first meeting on the board was the apartment building downtown, and I had not been present for it, but they told me I could endorse, so. That's the only reason I know.
95 West or 1034 East?
I can go by a different name if you'd like to.
I have a vote of 3-0 when it was
No.
voted, but yeah.
East.
300,
East.
right.
Yeah.
But so I was probably out.
I don't think he was
But
there.
you were here for
Paul was
most of the
absent.
hearing.
I was here for most of it, yes.
I don't know what the correct procedure is, whether,
You're allowed to.
He can,
endorse.
he
I
can
know that.
sign it.
They're stating that I can.
no,
Would you like me to?
no, please,
State?
I don't mind.
Do you want to start?
How about a motion to endorse?
Yeah.
Motion
She
to
made an
endorse.
endorsement and there was a second.
Second.
I was neither one or the other. but- Oh, I
favor?
didn't mind.
Those in favor, John? John, you want to call it to a vote?
Sorry.
You get it first, you get a second.
All those in
So
favor
the,
to
all
endorse?
those, oh, sorry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
No.
just right opposed.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you, Kate.
Is this all
Oh,
one?
it's.
Do we need to sign all of
You
these,
guys are
Kate?
gonna be here all night.
You can sign one complete set, and I will get them back. That's what it
So one
sounds to me.
complete set. You don't need to sign all the sets. then.
I'm sorry?
You don't need us to
You don't
sign
need us
all
to
the
si-
sets.
Well,
What is the,
I
what is the
asked
proper
Jack about
procedure?
it, and he said 4 sets, and then I don't think it's necessary.
Well, I know because
He's
when
not
we
here,
sign the
so-
Mylars, generally it's just signing one, but
Well, we always did a Mylar.
this isn't a subdivision.
No.
So you can do all of them, John? You can just take,
You going to St. Patty's?
Okay, well, what we can do is,
you could do one each set.
I'll do the first line, and you can choose the second line, third line, fourth line, and each start on one of them, and we'll just swap
see what
them
you're saying.
afterwards then.
So we're going to do all of them?
No, yeah.
One set.
Well,
Just one set is all we need?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put these
Is that
away.
all right, Cal?
It is. All I wanted was one set in the beginning, but Mylar or this, either way.
What's today, the...
I don't know why
Only
we're
do
doing
one set?
4.
so do you file them?
No, I don't file.
I was gonna print the
But
copies.
What the problem
one
is
copy.
the sign set goes out to the applicant, and we want copies of the sign set back. We want 3 copies back
I see,
of signed plans.
I see. So it's easier if we
Does he
sign all 4
date
sets.
the
It
endorsed
actually
date?
is,
or
it
the
actually
approved
would be
date?
easier if you signed
Signed
all
all
4,
four.
but I'm muddling in Kate's world right now, so.
Okay.
Is the date we're endorsing it, that one?
Today.
Or the date we approved?
It's,
What's
Isn't
it say?
both dates? It says date approved and date endorsed.
So we're endorsing it tonight.
Date approved was,
The-
November 15th, it's on the letter, was it
I have
November
it
15th?
in my list.
I think it was November 15th.
It was November, I
It
believe.
was November, let me ask you something. Second page of the decision, John.
It was done on
So-
the 7th of November.
Okay. But you know what, I'll fill that in.
Yeah.
Just sign it.
Okay.
how do I handle it? Do I just say, okay?
Okay. It's her call, right?
And today is the 16th?
16th.
Yep. It's her decision.
If they do one copy, will you burn me a copy of this?
That's okay. You can.
And I brought,
Will you?
That's
Before I
fine.
send it
sure,
out?
yeah, we can do that.
That way I don't let it go without something.
Oh, I know. I was going to ask you. Were you able to? Did you get a response to your email about the?
I'm sorry?
When we did Mylars,
Yeah.
we did.
But I had these and
Coordinate.
this is different.
Yeah.
Why?
She says as soon as we download it.
Okay.
You know? But, do whatever you want.
Minutes. Did you see it? Have you seen it?
The website?
Yeah.
I saw it before. I haven't seen it like recently. Like I saw it when you. Actually, I did. I went on the other day because I ordered a new sweatshirt.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh, look at it. tickets,
Oh, that's, you just put that up.
everything, yeah, sponsorships, look at, ready? Yeah. Advertisement, half page, full page, right, trolley.
Oh, that's
corporate-
great.
Corporate, always looks better when it's, yeah. And I started a newsletter. We do a quarterly newsletter. We have 350 names.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, trying.
I went on, right before you did that, I went on the beginning of the week, so you must have done it after that. I think I went on Wednesday night. When was our meeting? Tuesday night?
Yeah, I'm
So
just
I
like,
went on
I
Wednesday.
like my mind. It's like, you gotta get ready for the Lions meeting, it's meeting, you know, it's like.
No, I know, it's hard. Yeah, I turned it way up. It's on 75. Everything comes in the same week, and that's what's hard for me.
Yeah,
It's hard.
yeah, I agree to that, yeah.
That wasn't a bad meeting.
Here, let me take you.
But we always spiral.
I'm sorry?
We always spiral. Do you
At
mind
one
pitching that,
point-
Paul?
What's that?
Do you mind pitching that?
Oh,
Thank you.
I'd be delighted, tell her.
I would be delighted.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm gonna see if Jack's serving hot dogs out here.
Oh, gee. I don't think I've seen Kate laugh so hard.
Anyway,
Well, I can see like if you're traveling and like can't find anywhere, but
Can you imagine how long they've been in the store?
I
Plus-
don't know.
plus the
Even if
ones-
they were fresh, there's
But
no
even,
appeal
but
there.
even the one that's on Common in Washington.
Yeah, he was at the other one, but still.
Who was at the other one? Him?
Yeah, he was at the one on Main.
Oh, all right.
Isn't that what he said?
I didn't hear him. I just heard the end of it.
Yeah.
You can probably make a motion to adjourn because it just,
Do we have to stay open while we're signing?
I don't think we do.
you're welcome.
Okay.
Who knows? What do I know, Kate? Just making it.
Ask Jack. Hey,
We can't ask Jack.
He's not here.
He's not
Oh, Jack's
involved
not
in
here.
this hearing.
Hey, John,
Yeah,
can we call the meeting? Do we have to stay in session while we're signing this, or?
well, Jack's he's still in charge of this, he just can't do this, that's all. Jack's still chair. He wasn't involved with this, so.
Right.
Raised the issue for the
I'll sign
endorsement.
quick.
Jack,
Jack,
do we need to keep the
do we have to
meeting
keep this
open
open?
while we sign?
While we sign? Do we have to keep this open? We do. We can't call them, we can't call it. And the world is just watching us
I know,
talk.
but open meeting law.
Okay. Okay. That's good.
Who is that?
I hope you don't choke on that hot dog. Said, I hope you don't choke on that hot dog. Oh, flames. Flames, I tell
Thank
you.
you.
Who the hell eats that stuff? Jack
I'd
does.
like to have that Elm Street come up. because
I'm not a clean eater.
I know.
And I
I
would
know,
not.
and I tried very.
Because I know exactly when you know, you go, but
Yeah,
you go into a convenience store, maybe like a
And they
can of water,
really
whatever,
clear
and I
it.
see these things, like, I always say to myself,
Face
who the hell
more.
eats them? And now it's funny that we just talked to him, like,
I know what you're
Jack
saying.
eats them.
Jack eats them. Jack eats them.
Yeah. I don't need that anymore.
Oh, dear.
How's Miss Mary?
Katie, you want to see my kids?
Yeah, she's good peeps.
Yeah, a lot of one meeting a month.
She's just.
Jesse, I know, so I'm just closing.
Oh, that's big. Good for her.
Katie,
So
look
Mary's
at this.
stressed.
I think she's excited.
Oh, okay.
He's so handsome. He's a handsome boy.
Hi, baby.
Oh my God, the smile, look at the smile. Big, good-looking kids.
How are the doggies?
Very good, thank you.
Love them. They're funny.
I
Funny
haven't seen
kids.
Teach in a long time.
The
I was in
mother's
the backyard a couple days ago, it was cold, saw a rabbit out.
The rabbits are out. Yeah, I've seen them when I go out at night.
God, I love him. Every time I see him. calls
And the
me Bonham.
coyotes are out.
Oh, she would.
I see those
So
too.
John bought him from the bear.
I never see him. All I do is hear him.
Something is,
They
I
play
don't
New
know,
Year's
something's
Eve
across
at,
the street in the tree when I
Finnegan's.
go out at night yelling at me. I don't know what the heck that is.
Owl?
No, it doesn't,
Back with
no, it's
Sandy and
not a friendly yell.
Oh.
Teddy.
Yeah, yeah. Good for him.
Yeah, which is good for him up
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
It's funny, you wouldn't expect where I live that you'd get that kind of stuff, but there's a lot.
I thought you were signing fast.
I'm sorry.
Her name's longer. You have a nice short name.
Yeah. I just write PS.
I said I was gonna start the new year doing it. KT,
KT? KT?
that's my name.
It's K. It's really what your name is, right?
You saw people,
How much work do you usually put in?
what? That started this morning full.
He said he's going to Saturday.
Really?
I saw people out on Clark's Pond Street.
Down on the river, huh?
On the nice, beautiful ocean.
It's gorgeous. It's nice down there.
Ice fishing.
So I'll be on the food stamp soon.
Yeah.
Okay, you're almost done. Let me just tell you, it's
Well, getting around behind
how
shallow.
we gonna do it, how are we gonna do it, how are we gonna do it, right? And then once in a while, you blink, they're all done. You're like,
I'll be eating Cumberland hot dogs.
that's okay. You can, well, they'll have to put an extra one on. Jack will eat them all out of House and Home.
Water, you always have to be near the edges where the rivers went out because they didn't have flow.
Always have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
He didn't take his marker with him, but he did. Steals them all the time.
Oh, really?
One off Peach Street. Stayed there. And once we went down to, one was kind of back behind
Just easy.
I'm gonna beat the kids home.
And sometimes it's not.
What'd you say?
I'm gonna beat the kids home.
Where are they? Where are they playing?
Right.
Practice.
At Walpole?
No, Foxborough.
And the old
Well,
railroad.
that's not too bad.
Yeah,
No,
it's
Dennis
a little-
skates. Practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday.
Kate, I think there's a meeting in the 1st of March. I won't be there.
Short walk from where
That's okay.
on the back
It
side.
is March 6th. No, Paul?
I'm in California.
You know, after school,
pleasure.
you know, we get out of school and then
It's a leadership
what
summit.
kind of weather we always
nice.
be down.
Yeah. Well,
If nothing, you could just climb.
you gotta do it now, kid, you know?
Well, it happens
No.
sometimes before the pond opens.
Don't,
Street from me. And the golf course is-
unfortunately.
There's like a low area along
Thank you.
second, third, and
Jack
fifth
probably took his thing.
And it would freeze up down there with water. And it would freeze a while. We could skate there.
Always skating around. It's a lot of those days.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You know, what it was the old, was the black ice up in December.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, sir.
There was no snow. Man. It was the best. Yeah. And the snow.
Hey, Jack,
Bubble it up.
motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Say good night.